guess. How is high school compared to college?
You want me to go first?
Yeah,
sure. I think college is better than high school in numerous ways. The first is you get more autonomy. You're away from your parents. In my case, I'm from Austin, so I'm only like 20, 30 minutes away from my parents, but that's a good and a bad thing. So obviously I get my autonomy in that I can live how I want to. But on the other hand, if I ever need something from my parents or I want to visit them, I'm close enough that I can be able to do that. The second thing is you get to study the things that you're interested in. So in high school, you're forced to take English classes, art classes, all of these classes that might not be relevant to what you're actually interested in. In college, you can take all the electives you want, even outside of your major. So for example, if you're just a business major, you can take liberal arts classes. It's like they let you register for wherever you want. The third thing is there's a lot of clubs and organizations that will affect your future career in a very material way. So you can join management consulting organizations, or you can join mobile app development organizations that do real work for real companies or real people. So you can get kind of work experience and a real world work experience prior to entering the workforce. The last thing is you just have more opportunities in general. There's so many people in university within your class. Like as you walk across campus, you'll be walking past like an economics major, you'll be walking past a biomedical engineering major. All these different people are wanting to learn from you, and at the same time, you can learn from them. So it's a very knowledge-sharing relationship that occurs throughout those 4 years, and I think it's really a lot of what you make of it. Whereas in high school, you're kind of just doing some kind of busy work and stuff like that.
Yeah, I definitely agree with all the opportunities that there are in college. It can get it can get very overwhelming, but also like you said, when you just walk down the halls, there are people who are interested in all these different things, and even more so, there are professors who have dedicated their entire life to researching a certain topic that might be really interesting that I've never thought about. And it just means taking advantage of all these different opportunities. There are CEOs from companies that come to campus to speak. There are Nobel laureates at the University of Texas. We just had one of our professors win the Nobel Prize for chemistry, and these are people whose offices are in the university that you can knock on their door and just talk to them. And there's so much knowledge that is ready to be shared, and just takes us taking that step to pursue it. But with that means that we have a lot of free will. We have our own volition to take advantage of these opportunities. And oftentimes I see college students just letting these opportunities go to waste. There are a couple talks I've been to which CEO of a really large local company comes and speaks, and I was one of maybe 10, 15 people in the audience, and lucky for me, that's a lot of one-on-one interaction, personal interaction with the speaker, but also these are opportunities that are presented to you. And what's different from high school is rather than you sitting there and taking all these opportunities, in college you have to stand up and walk and go towards and pursue these opportunities. I think there is a lot of social growth, and the big difference is that freedom that we have in college. Your entire schedule is up to you. You don't need to take classes in the morning if you can't wake up. You don't need to take classes in the afternoon if you want to just spend the rest of your day relaxing. And with that freedom comes great responsibility. And maybe that means knowing myself good enough to manage my own sleep schedule. In high school, your parents, they give you a dinner, they tell you to go to bed, you go to bed. In college, you can stay up till 3 a.m., 4 a.m., 5 a.m. and no one besides maybe your roommate judging you would tell you to not do that. And it's a lot of learning through lessons, but ideally, what I hope to just be able to share with you is you could ask other people how their college experiences went, and hopefully learn from my mistakes, learn from Sava's mistakes. But college is a great time, and I am excited for the next 2 years I have at UT.
Sorry, one thing that I want to mention, because I feel like we're just saying college is better than high school, universally. The one drawback I think of college is in high school, you're sitting in 20 to 30 person classes. You become very good friends with people in those classes, to the point where you hang out outside of those classes as well. When it comes to UT, the classes can range anywhere from 20 people to like 400 people. And even in those 20, 30 person classes, you're not necessarily going to become friends with people in those classes. Oftentimes, it's people that are in other majors. Even when they're in your own major, you're kind of only focused on your own work. Those social relationships are forced in a sense in high school, where you're kind of required to make friends. In college, you could go all 4 years without making a single friend. So that onus is kind of on you, and that is bad for some people and good for others.
So I guess hopping off of that question, where do you like make your most friends in like college? Like when you first started out, like no friends, everyone's like new, right? I guess.
I made most of mine in my major. I'm in Plan 2, which is a liberal arts program, and they have classes that are like 15 people, 20 people, and we go through this class for an entire year. We all live in the same dormitories, and this close proximity means that I got to meet a lot of friends through that. But then I also joined a couple organizations. I'm part of a ministry on campus. I'm part of an organization called Epic Movement and an organization called Texas Votes. It's a nonpartisan voter agency, and we do a lot of events planning together, and we have a lot of different social events together, and organizations offer a very big opportunity for me to meet people from other majors with similar interests, but really cool and interesting backgrounds. I made a lot of friends through those. I think that's what most friend groups look like in college. There's friends in your major, and then there's also friends outside of your major that you pursue just because y'all vibe so well together.
Yeah, just to expand on that, I think there's 4 main ways that you make friends. The first is at orientation. So no one knows each other when you get to orientation. Everyone's looking to become friends with other people, and that's the best time to do it. The first few weeks of university in your freshman year are the most important when it comes to making your social friend circles. After that, friend groups kind of solidify. It's kind of harder to enter that space, and you can feel left out. A lot of times when people first come to university, especially if you're leaving the city that you're from, you get social anxiety because you're separated from everything that you've ever known, and you could kind of close yourself off to making friends. But it's most important to not do that. One good way to not do that is to join clubs. So you can join academic organizations that are relevant to your major. That's another way to make friends. Or you can join clubs that are based on your hobbies. And I think that's an easier way to make friends. So you can join like a magic club, for example. And that's a great way to make friends because you enjoy spending time with that person and it's not forced. That's something that you just enjoy doing. The last way that you make friends is within classes, of course. So classes within your major specifically are the best way to make friends. If you're kind of just taking a core university class, it's kind of unlikely that you'll hang out afterwards. But yeah, I would say those are the 4 best ways to make friends. Also, you come in with a small friend group from whoever came from your university.
And then, like, what's a typical schedule in college, classes wise?
So the minimum number of hours you have to take at UT to be considered a full-time student is 12 hours. A class is generally 3 hours. That means that you meet either once a week for 3 hours or you meet twice a week for 1.5 hours. When those classes are is really dependent on what classes you pick. So you could have a class at 8 a.m., 9 a.m., or you could have a class all the way from like noon to like 6 p.m. You can do that based on how you enjoy like working. But also a lot of times classes fill up and there's a certain number of classes, or there's a certain class that you want to take and it's only offered at a specific time. Wait, what was the question again?
It was like, what's the schedule? What schedule?
Oh yeah. So in terms of class schedule, that's what it's like. The maximum you can take is 21 hours. Most people take between 12 and 15 hours, so that's 3 to 4 classes. Outside of that, you can kind of do whatever you want. So you can, like, that's probably clubs, friends, and then studying.
Yeah. Say that pretty much covers it. In general, the schedule isn't like that crazy. Like most people do have classes from morning to the afternoon, then they do homework in the afternoon and do orgs in the afternoon.
One of you also work, right? During the school semester.
Yeah, so I decided to intern while I am in classes right now. And like being lucky to only be taking like 15 hours this semester, and 2 of those classes are classes like swimming, social dance. So it gives me a lot of freedom and a lot of opportunity to pursue stuff such as organizations or internships outside of class. I go to class from 9 a.m. until 1 p.m. and then I intern from 2 p.m. to 6 p.m. every day. It's sort of similar to my summer schedule.
No time for party?
Not during the week.
So, yes, maybe what's like one thing you regret not doing in high school?
That's a really good question. I'd say I focused a lot in the first 2 years of high school on academics. I had this idea in my mind that like what mattered the most was that GPA, that number. And like once I get into college, like I can start focusing on all the other things in my life, like friendships, social relationships, passions, hobbies. And yeah, high school is one of the most formative times of our years. Like this is the time when you spend 4 years with the same group of people. Like that's a lot of opportunity to get really close and form a lot of close bonds with people. And I wish that I spent more time getting to know my classmates and just spending time with them outside of school, outside of the academic environment. I fortunately started pursuing a lot of different passions junior year of high school, and I can only think of like how much opportunities I would have further gotten if I had started pursuing those freshman year. And mental health wise, stressing out about your GPA is not the most fun thing to do for 4 years of high school.
Yeah, I have to agree with that. GPA does not matter as much as you think, especially in college. So like, as long as your GPA is above like a certain number, everyone is the same. And then it just comes down to like who you are as a person. Have you been working on yourself? What kind of organizations and hobbies are you into? That sort of thing. So when it comes to high school, I think maybe one thing that I should have done that other people can do is join organizations that you're interested in that aren't even academically oriented. So you could join like math counts, for example, and that's like cool for a resume. But if that's not something that you really enjoy doing, then maybe consider joining something else.
I guess maybe talk about what like things do you do in like your free time in college?
I spend a lot of time just keeping up with current news, so hang out with friends. I think because I have a pretty busy schedule with classes and an internship, that takes up most of my time this semester. Last semester I spent a lot more time in orgs, getting to know people, doing some leadership positions in those orgs, and I had a lot of fun doing that.
Fun things I do. I like cooking or doing magic tricks. This semester, I'm a junior, and I think your junior year internship is kind of what matters most when it comes to your full-time position. So I'm just like in the recruiting grind. So I'm like doing a lot of technical coding and stuff like that, which is consuming a lot of my time. But when I'm not doing that, I like doing running. I don't know.
Yeah, Austin is such a great city for going outdoors. We're the most bikeable city in the South. We have great trails, downtown Austin. I know it sounds like I'm selling the city to you right now.
It's the best city in Texas, for sure.
And then, his final question, maybe, unless I can think of another one, but like coming into college, what's one thing that you should know?
That's a good question. Okay, 2 things. First, first is it does not matter what you do your freshman year summer. That's the time for you to explore. So my freshman year summer, I studied abroad, and I highly recommend that if you have an opportunity to study abroad, you take it, because after you graduate college, you're never gonna have that time where you can spend like 2 or 3 months in like another city, in another country, in another part of the world, and experience that culture while also getting course credit towards your college degree. So it's a win-win in many respects. The second thing is, there's a lot of emphasis in college. I think a lot of people say that GPA doesn't matter as much as college, but organizations do. But at the same time, I think even if you're not in any organizations, that's fine too. A lot of people, I think, are pressured into joining academic orgs just so they can put it on their resume. But really, I think it's just about figuring out what it is that you enjoy doing. Because chances are, if you're in an academic org that you don't like, then maybe you're in the wrong major as well. And you'll only know if you branch in organizations that you do like joining. So if you're only in 1 or 2 orgs, that's fine as long as you enjoy that.
College is a big place. There's a lot of different things that you can do, and you're a very unique individual. I say try out a lot of different things freshman year. You don't need to commit first semester to 20 different clubs, but you can just dip your toes in each one and see what fits the best for you. And it's a lot of opportunities to discover who you are and where you want to be after college for the rest of your life.
I guess that's all. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks. Thanks, Alex.
Thank you.
Thanks, Alex.
Nobody talk about girls?
Talk about what?
Nobody talk about girls?
Ghosts?
Girls.
Girls.
Oh.